Okay, so I just want to record for the first video for the year of trying to get through this game and see what rank we can get and just my impressions. So here are initial impressions of the first day of Hearthstone. So the point of this video series is going to be, I really want to challenge myself to jump into a competitive game as I'm learning video editing and streaming, and pick something and say like, hey, I'm going to play this for a year and I'm going to see how far we can get, what we can learn, where we could get into. The game I decided on was a Hearthstone. And the reason I decided on Hearthstone is I just love card games. I always have. They're probably my favorite genre to play. At first I convinced myself, well, you're not going to be able to do that. It's too hard. And I was like, well, we'll make something interesting. We'll make a challenge out of it. So that's kind of where we get to with this challenge, which is we're going to do a full 365 days. I'm going to try to do every day, but realistically, we're going to do about a year. So it's going to run basically from January of 25 to January of 26. And we're going to see what we can get. I don't really know much about the game, which you'll see in the video. This is literally my first impression. Where we're going to be able to accomplish, where we're going to land, and we'll do kind of periodic, whether it's daily, weekly, bi-weekly, edited videos of like, hey, this is where we're at. We'll also be streaming everything on Twitch, and by we, I mean me. And like I said, I'll try to keep up with most days being live at the same time so people can kind of follow along. So far, I've played for one day. I have my first day impressions, which are right now. For experience, I've played basically every card game you can imagine under the sun, from Magic the Gathering to Pokemon to, you know, the many roguelite card games that are now on Steam. And then on top of that, just the mass amount of experience with JRPGs and other turn-based games. The reason I skipped Hearthstone was really just kind of at the time, me and Blizzard, I wasn't into Blizzard games at the time. Also, just as a side note, I've been playing WoW since 2004, on and off. Always been a huge WoW player, definitely one of those guys that comes and goes, and I split off into FF11 and FF14. But I always come back to WoW. This is actually the first expansion I ever skipped to WoW, the current one, even though I hear it's good. And I've been a lifelong Paladin, which is why you'll notice in the gameplay footage, you're going to see a lot of Paladin gameplay. That's probably the class I'm going to stick with. But now we'll get to sort of my day one, as it's already written up top, impressions. And my day one impressions are actually pretty positive as a new player in 2025. We're going to call it 2025, even though as the time of recording, it's still technically 2024. I'm a positive person, so we'll do the pros first. Currently, it's got a lot of pros. I mean, I think the presentation's good. When it comes to graphics, the look of the cards, the style, I think right now, some of the card looks are a little cartoony, and I know WoW is cartoony, but they're a little like beachy and kind of like that, but I don't hate it. It does a good job of separating itself from the more like serious Magic, and the darker tones that are kind of going on with that. Card acquisition so far for a free-to-play player, pretty good. I feel like I'm able to play against people in ranked. I've only started ranked a few rounds. I mean, I never felt like, oh my God. At one point, I even had 20-ish packs to open, and I didn't need to open them. They give you free decks, which is cool. You basically pick a class. They have like a little branching part where they give you like 3 choices, Paladin, Mage, DK. They give you free decks of every class, but then they give you these 3 choices to get like more in-depth decks. So of course I went Paladin. The other pros of it so far in the early game is there's a lot of content. Some of it, I mean, the majority of it I haven't even touched yet, which is I didn't realize because Blizzard doesn't really advertise it, which is you have, you know, your standard ranked play. You have a draft mode, which I believe they call Arena. I played those two. They have something called Battlegrounds, which is like, I think supposed to be like a BR sorta. Haven't touched this yet. I've played this. I played this. Their tutorial is okay. It's meh. And the reason I say it's meh is because the actual teaching you the mechanics is good, with great voice acting with Laura Bailey and like Jaina and all those characters. The tutorial is good for showing you different classes. I think it did a good job of teaching me about the classes. But I will hit it in that like the menu tutorial is bad, but that goes to the next thing, which is that the menu is bad. It doesn't really do a great clear job of teaching you where to look for things, how to unlock things, so you can feel kind of lost pretty early because of how many cards they give you. Let me put little plus symbols. The other positive that I definitely give it off the rip is when you're starting in the early games, it's easy to understand. Granted, I'm a card game player, but I feel like anyone could kind of do this. So day one, I didn't feel like I couldn't understand the game. And what I mean by understand the game is it does a very good job of giving you bread and butter combos, B2B. So like you're going to play a paladin and it's pretty clear that this card's going to combo into this card, which is going to make this really cool thing happen when these two cards combo. At least with paladin, super fun, super easy. Those are the pros. Cons, it's not conless. Really, there's two major issues that Blizzard should address for new players. Number one is the menus. They just suck. The menus are just bad. But which is another way around it. You can't find things very easily. I can't see my cards very easily. A great example of this is you'll go into your collection. Now you would assume this is where I'm going to go to build my decks. Don't know why it took so long to load. And here they are, just in my paladin decks. But if I click on a paladin deck, I can't hover over it and like see. I have to click into it, load this whole thing, wait for this to load, then come in here. So if I wanted to quickly go through these decks, it's just not. I wish I could see it here if they just paint it into here. Other menu thing is like when you open packs. Here's a pack. As you can see in the shop, there's a lot of different packs. So currently there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 groups of cards. I don't know what the exact wording is in this game. But I have no idea which one this is. Like what drops out of here or any of that. I would have to go back to here, go to my collection, go to that, find Dark Beyond, then see my cards. What's craftable. That just sucks. That's just not a good way to do it. It doesn't make me want to deal with that at all. So checking your cards is bad. The other thing that's bad in the menu are modes. So some modes are located under modes. Some game modes have their own tab, like Battlegrounds and Tavern Brawl. It's just weird. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. And then Hearthstone is the main mode where you can unlock new of these, but you don't have all of them and it doesn't tell you how to undo it. And what I mean by that is I went into this once and it said down here or somewhere, you can play wild card. It even tells you. I think it's here. Oh, yeah. Standard, wild rank, twist rank. I don't know how to play this. I now know because I looked it up, but I didn't know before. There was nothing in here to tell me. That's bad. It just confuses players when you tell them, hey, you have 3 types of ranks, you can play these type of games, but you don't give them any way to figure out how to do it. What it is you have to build cards by going through the bad menu system once again, going to your collection, going to crafting, going down here to wild sets, and crafting wild sets that you can't use in standard. It's a little unintuitive, in my opinion. So that wasn't great. The other things that could be worked on a little bit more in the menu is hold on, let me write out game modes. The other thing that they could do a little bit better in the menus is their search functions. For a game that's like the #1 in the genre, maybe behind Magic a little bit or tied with Magic, depending on how you view it. And it has competitors such as, like, I really think they should take what Marvel Snap does, which is, let's say I go into here as a new player and I'm like, oh, I really want to use this Librum mechanic. There's these cards that have this thing called like Librum. Or take any of the keywords, Divine Sheet, Death Rattle, Lifesteal, Battle Card Discover. But if I wanted to find some cards that combo, there's no filter. There's no way to be like, hey, show me all the beast cards, or show me all the elemental cards, or show me Librum cards, like right here, Librum of Faith and stuff. So instead you have to go and type it. It's just weird. It doesn't feel good for how nice the menus look. I don't love that. But that's really kind of where the complaints stop. It's good. I mean, it's a good card game. I mean, it just is good. There's really not a great way around it. Which kind of leads to my day one impressions. So my day one impressions are kind of this, which you'll see expanded on, I'm sure, as I play more. Currently, all I've done is the apprentice track, which is when you first start the game, I'll put in some B-roll. You have the apprentice track, which is your tutorial, which play a bunch of games, which we're going to touch on this a little bit later, like at the very end of the video. It's like my biggest advice to them. And I've done 1 or 2 ranked games after unlocking ranked and making my way to the apprentice track. So I think I have like 4-ish hours, maybe 5 hours. And that's kind of where we're at. My closing thoughts are, as a day one player coming in 2025, if you're watching this video and you decide, I kind of want to play a card game, if you're coming in and you want to play in 2025, do. It's good. It has a good onboarding. That's kind of the biggest thing I would say right now is play it. Give it a try. It's free to play. So far, I have spent no money, and I don't feel like I need to at the moment. Of course, that could change. The only real microtransaction stuff I've seen is it does have a lot of cosmetics. Some of them are kind of cool. It also seems like you can earn most of them in-game. It doesn't seem like overly pushing you for it. But with that idea of starting in day one and how I feel, there is a giant bad in here, and the giant bad is bots. This has to be addressed. And these aren't player bots that I saw. These are straight up, from what I can tell, Blizz bots. And Blizz bots, I have a little short posted on the channel. They play the game in your apprentice ranks and your lower ranks for you, and they just don't play logically. It's the weirdest thing in the world. They'll heal you. Let's make that red. They'll heal you. They'll buff you when they're fighting against you. They'll kill themselves. They just make really illogical kind of decisions, and it doesn't help teach you the game. So if I was Blizz, you got to get rid of these. It spoiled the first day pretty bad until I got out of my, I guess I was told until I got my MMR high enough. I just played bots, and it's not that playing bots is a problem, it's that the bots don't teach you anything. They literally play the game poorly. And then finally, the last thing I touch on in first video is the goals. The goals of this year long, I know so little about the game, so I would like to hit legend, which is the top rank. So we're going to shoot for that. I would like to get a good collection of cards. Another thing I really want to do just to make videos on it is I really want to do the single player content. I think that's kind of really cool that they have this single player content right here. This is neat. And there's a lot of it. Like if you go to Book of Heroes, there's just each one of these is a whole track too with intros and cutscenes and all that. I would like to get through that. Oh, I'm sorry, Thrall. Okay. So I'd like to get through the collection. I would like to get through the single player content. I would like to collaborate with some other people. And then mainly it's to see if Hearthstone is a long-lasting competitive thing and a good way to invest time for people to give that sort of advice. And I also want to learn better video editing, so I'm doing it, you know, to have a good hobby to do as well. And the main reason I kind of asked this question at the beginning when I wanted to find something to do is there's really not a lot of other TCGs coming out, especially digital. I mean, Riot has Project K, but that's going to be tabletop. So I if you're in this space and you're like me, you really have Magic and you have Hearthstone, because you know, Legends of Runeterra is kind of, for an unfortunate way, is sort of dead. So I was curious, you know, Magic has so much content being made about it now, and it's definitely on the updrift because it has tabletop as well as it has Arena or Magic the Gathering. I don't really play the digital one that much. So that's kind of where we're at. If you like the video and you want to follow around, we'll continue to do this and we'll continue to make content around it. We stream, by we, I mean me, of course, right now on Twitch. It's the same as this. It's linked in the YouTube description. Try to stream daily Hearthstone in the AM, but we might do some night streams as well. And hope you guys have a great day.